Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. It is Denise Salcedo, and we are here. I am ready to talk about WWE Friday Night Smackdown. It is the April 23rd edition of the show. We are still, coming off the heels of WrestleMania. We're heading into WrestleMania Backlash, and things are starting to move along. They are definitely moving on a lot better than they were the following Smackdown editions right after WrestleMania. So I would say that since WrestleMania, this was probably the best SmackDown that we've had so far. There were a couple of good things on the show. We saw some returning faces, which we will be talking about here tonight. And we're starting to see some storyline progression as well, which I, for one, am very stoked about because last week's episode here on our post show for SmackDown, the number one thing that I was talking about was the fact that absolutely nothing new happened. But we definitely got some new stuff in here today, and I cannot wait to talk about it. But we are getting several super chats, so I'm going to go ahead and start reading some of those. BTW, for those of you who are new to the stream and are wondering what on earth are super chats, well, you guys can go ahead and send in super chats. I do get to keep whatever money we make from the super chats after YouTube takes their cut. F4W does allow me to keep the money from that. And you get your comment, your question, your statement, whatever it is, you get it read on this stream. So it's a cool way for me to basically just like A, make money, and B, make sure to give you some direct attention for that super chat. So guys, send them in if you guys want. Other than that, I will be reading some of your other comments as well. This is a very interactive stream, as you all know. So here we go, our first super chat of the evening. Thank you so much to Rick P for getting us started. Rick P says, should have sent this Monday, but I think the story should have been that Sister Abigail drowned in the swamp, possessed Alexa, and the black liquid was swamp water, thus explaining why the Fiend looks sad. All right, thank you so much for sending this in, BTW. I know we're talking about a totally different show, but since you did spend some hard-earned money on this super chat, I will address this. And first things foremost, I have completely... Raw is a totally different animal from SmackDown, totally different animal from NXT, AEW. It's its own species over there, guys. And so what's going on Raw in terms of the Alexa Bliss thing, the Fiend thing, all of that, I've gotten to the point where I just let it happen. I just let it happen. It's not like everything else where I try to creatively book something in my head, not fantasy book anything. I cannot fantasy book the Alexa Bliss situation. After this whole Lily thing and the swing stuff and the black liquid stuff, I think at this point, I cannot come up with anything, or any of my good guesses are going to be totally and utterly wrong. But thank you so much to Rick P. Seriously, though, for sending in this super chat. I very much appreciate this. We have another super chat from... Here we go. We got a couple, actually. We got one from Sam Pi Boone. Thank you so much to Sam for sending this in as well. Sam says, will Daniel Bryan beat Roman Reigns next week on SmackDown? If Daniel Bryan loses against Roman Reigns next week, will you miss him on SmackDown? So that is the big question of the night. This was probably what the Daniel Bryan, Roman Reigns, Cesaro, Seth Rollins, Jey Uso storyline essentially took the majority of SmackDown today. It took like the first 40-something minutes of the start of the show, and then also closed out the show too, with the shocking announcement being that next week we are going to get a WrestleMania main event worthy match on the show. We're going to get Roman Reigns versus Daniel Bryan for the title. But if Daniel Bryan loses, he is literally going to be banished from SmackDown. So that was something that I did not expect. I am leaning more towards the side of Daniel Bryan losing, because if Roman Reigns did not lose at WrestleMania, I cannot imagine him losing on a random SmackDown. That like it's not gonna happen. So in terms of am I wondering, is this it for Daniel Bryan here? Is he definitely gonna move on in a different direction? You know, people have been talking what is gonna happen with Daniel Bryan. I think we're definitely gonna be seeing some answers sooner rather than later, and it's definitely looking like it's happening next week. I'm very excited to see what's going to happen. And again, we'll get more into that as we progress here with the show. And we have another super chat from Khaled Adam. Thank you so much to Khaled, who says, thoughts on WWE sending Mickie stuff in a trash bag? Dude, when I saw Mickie James's tweet, usually my instinct is, okay, retweet, make sure the information gets out there to, you know, people that are following me. I want to be a good resource on Twitter for people and all of that. But I kind of stood there reading her tweet for a second, and I kind of just blanked out where I was like, she really got her stuff is in a garbage bag. And I started trying to put myself in that situation, how I would feel. I tried to analyze it from all different angles, but point blank, it was wrong. It was not something that, you know, $1 billion corporation, however much money, it's not something that you send to your talent, especially talent that you released during a pandemic, and then to send their stuff, you know, in a garbage bag. And then obviously that spiraled a whole series of events with the release of Mark Carrano, who, as you guys both know, both Sean Ross Sapp and Dave Meltzer have put out extensive information about this, where you guys can, find out all the details that went down with Mark Carrano and all of that. And I was very surprised when I saw the news break about Mark Carrano essentially being released. But at the same time, based on what I'm seeing, it's just like it was only a matter of time till that was actually going to happen. And it looks like he was the one to essentially be responsible for this and take the blame for this as well. So I think it was the right call to make, because it was definitely not something that was, you know, easy to see. Also, I do think that Triple H and Stephanie McMahon made the right call by taking action right away. You know, the second that they got, you know, Stephanie got off that call, you saw that she was out there tweeting about this. So I think that they did what they could do to make this, you know, make the situation a lot better. And then obviously today, just about maybe an hour and a half ago, Mickie James did send out a statement. She posted on Instagram and on Twitter. She posted a statement basically saying that she doesn't, you know, she feels she never wants to be responsible for somebody losing their job, because of course nobody wants to be responsible for somebody losing their job. But at the same time, she does not, you know, regret basically putting out that post, because if not, no action would be done whatsoever. And obviously this is something that has been happening since other people spoke out about this too, once they saw Mickie James's tweet. So a lot more people came out saying that this had happened to them. So in my opinion, it's best to put that information out there so that, you know, the company or whoever, you know, is sending this stuff out thinks twice about sending this out to the talent. Because again, a garbage bag does not represent anything nice whatsoever. So thank you so much to Khaled for sending in this super chat. We have another super chat from Cyclops is Better Than Wolverine, who says, I can't believe Roman called Bryan a bottom. Wait, I missed that. Did he really? I didn't catch that actually. Why didn't I catch that? I'm sorry, guys. I didn't catch that. But thank you so much to Cyclops is Better Than Wolverine for sending this in. And we also have another super chat. Here we go. We have one from Brandon Roseanne. Whoa, Brandon. Thank you so much for this giant super chat. Brandon says, so Roman Reigns will walk away from Cesaro before he can cut a promo. Then tonight, Daniel Bryan is acting as Cesaro's mouthpiece. What does this really tell fans about Cesaro's mic skills when no one will let him talk? Brandon, I am so happy that you brought this up, because I was going to talk about this when I was recapping the show, but I might as well mention it now. So that was the number one thing that I noticed at the top of the show. And obviously it was hard considering that we opened up SmackDown with Cesaro right there with a microphone, and you're thinking, okay, he's going to cut a promo. The guy barely breathes, and bam, Seth Rollins' music hits. And, you know, throughout this, we did get a couple of words here and there from Cesaro, but nothing much. Also, in regards to the later segment that happened closing out SmackDown, I tweeted out a joke, and it correlates with this storyline. So I sent out a silly tweet basically saying, you never send your friend to ask your crush out, because when you do that, chances are your crush is going to want to date your friend. And that is exactly what happened here on SmackDown. We had Daniel Bryan essentially being Cesaro's mouthpiece, which kind of made no sense. I didn't understand why Daniel Bryan was essentially in storyline. I did not understand why Daniel Bryan was the one to basically be to Adam Pearce, like, you better try really, really hard to get this match. You better, do your best to get this match, to make this match happen. And I thought to myself, shouldn't it be Cesaro? Shouldn't it be Cesaro that should be like, dang it, Adam Pearce, like, give me my match? So that did seem a little bit weird to me. And then, later on in the night, I do think that if any Cesaro fans are out here and any people here thought that Cesaro might finally be getting his opportunity, this and that, I think whatever hope you had for Cesaro at this moment sadly feels crushed, because in my opinion, today he was just seen like a side plate. Toss the salad, Daniel Bryan's the steak. It really just made him seem like he was no big deal. No big deal. And obviously we'll deep dive into that a little bit more, but those are my general opinions on what happened on today's show. So thank you so much to Brandon for sending in this massive super chat. We do have a couple more that I'm seeing here, and I'm going to pull it up in a second. This one is from Matthew Makovsky. Thank you so much to Matthew, who says, hello from your good friend Matthew. Daniel Bryan losing next week, going to Raw or NXT and putting on bangers with the likes of Drew, Gargano, etc. Yes. Well, we don't know. We don't know exactly. I mean, obviously, Daniel Bryan isn't going to win against Roman Reigns, and they did specify he would be banished from SmackDown. So maybe a direction in Raw, maybe a direction in NXT, or maybe just like a behind the scenes direction. We don't know what's going to happen, but this to me feels a little bit weird, and I'll tell you why. So this feels weird to me because if they were going to do this, why not make the stipulation on a pay-per-view? Why not make the stipulation at WrestleMania? Because let's just say that it would have been Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania, and Daniel Bryan, loses. Obviously, this is taking Edge out of the picture. But with this stipulation, for months, Roman Reigns following WrestleMania could have been like, I'm the guy that retired or that banished Daniel Bryan from at WrestleMania. He could be bragging about this nonstop. And it seems to me like it's something, if you're going to put this stipulation on there, it shouldn't be on SmackDown. Heck, it should be on WrestleMania Backlash even. So it does seem a little out of nowhere, out of the blue, for the Blue brand to put it. Okay, I got tongue twisted there. To put it on the Blue brand. But it does seem very, very out of nowhere. And chances are that this may be the last time we see Daniel Bryan on SmackDown. All right, we have another super chat from, let me pull it up here. We have another one from Matthew Makovsky who says, who is the bottom, Bryan or Brie? Oh, I don't even want to answer this. I'm not going to answer this. Thank you so much to Matthew, but this does not seem like I'm going to have a very good response for that whatsoever. And we do have another super chat. Thank you so much to Kaleem Elahi. Kaleem, thank you very much for sending in the super chat. Kaleem says, maybe Bryan even becomes a part-timer after he loses. I know. I won't be surprised if, I know that he was doing a little bit, and he did that interview recently too, where he was talking about feeling disconnected during his WrestleMania main event match. And that was pretty heartbreaking to read, especially coming from a guy who just loves wrestling. Wrestling is in his blood. Wrestling is in his DNA. It was very shocking to read that quote where he felt disconnected from this match. So I almost feel like maybe there's a story there. What happened? What happened? Why are we getting the stipulation out of nowhere? What is happening here? That's personally how I feel about this. But thank you so much to Kaleem Dream Elahi for sending in this super chat. All right, guys, so here we go. We're going to go ahead and jump into SmackDown. Thank you so much to everybody who has been sending in these super chats. But let's kick things off with the opening segment, which was Cesaro and Seth Rollins. Again, Cesaro came out and is about to address the crowd. Seth Rollins' music hits and Cesaro does not talk whatsoever. And I'm thinking, all right, this is what I expected, because based on last week's events, it looked like they were obviously going to continue this whole thing with Cesaro and Seth Rollins. So I really wasn't surprised to see Seth Rollins' music come out and play. But he comes out and he basically congratulates Cesaro on reaching his full potential, but basically says that the reason why he was able to fulfill his potential was really because he was in the ring with Seth Rollins. And I get the train of thought of why he said that, but in my opinion, he kind of buried himself. He kind of buried himself there. He basically, he lost. He buried himself by saying, oh, well, you only won because your full potential was reached because of me. And I'm like, because you couldn't win the match? I actually thought that was a little bit silly, but he said that. After this, we have Jey Uso, Daniel Bryan getting involved, and all I'm thinking here is I really don't want to see Seth and Cesaro again. Cesaro already beat him clean. Move on. Let's go on from here. And I really was not sure which direction they were heading in here. I also knew that I didn't want to see, a triple threat between Seth, Cesaro, and Roman, since we already saw a three-way. So I was leaning more towards the direction of seeing Daniel Bryan versus Seth Rollins, because I do think once we actually get Seth Rollins over to Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins definitely has to be a face to face Roman Reigns. So that's kind of like the path of where I was thinking at here. But Roman Reigns comes out and he basically tells Daniel Bryan and Cesaro that they're both losers. He starts calling them all these special types of losers. He calls Daniel Bryan a WrestleMania main event loser, calls Cesaro a casino loser with bad luck, and calls Daniel Bryan a stupid loser. He also has a brand new shirt, says smash them, stack them, pin them. Cool new shirt. But again, I was leaning more towards the direction of thinking that this would head on to Seth versus Bryan. Now, I'm trying to see what you guys are saying here. I'm going to read some of your comments before I jump into the actual match. So let's see. We have a comment from, all right, here we go. This is from Alex Aguilera, who says, as much as I really love heel Roman, they're starting to go overboard with their obsession with him. His stuff takes up so much of the show that other people get basically nothing. Well, yeah, Roman Reigns was a big part of today's show, but it really wasn't him taking up all the time, though. Most of the time really was, with Daniel Bryan and Cesaro, and then we had that really long tag team match, which we might as well jump right into, with Seth Rollins and Jey Uso versus Daniel Bryan and Cesaro. And we came back. We started this match right off commercial break. They're already going it by the time that we returned. There ended up being, from the start of this match to the end of this match, there ended up being 3 commercials during this. And this was a pretty lengthy match, but I gotta say, if you're gonna do a long tag team match like this, these are the guys to do it with, because there was a lot of really good stuff during this match. So at the top of this, we kind of see Seth Rollins practically leaving Jey Uso. And in hindsight, this played on to the actual finish, but he basically says, I don't want to do this, but he ends up still doing the match. Cesaro kicks off the match, and Daniel Bryan eventually ends up getting the hot tag and gets Seth with the yes kicks. Seth and Jay double team Cesaro on the outside of the ring, and truthfully, my favorite parts of this actual match was really everything that we saw from Cesaro. I actually thought that Cesaro was really the person that I thought was the most exciting to watch, and that's saying a lot because I do like each and every single person in this match. But we saw a lot of back and forth from Cesaro and Jey Uso, which I was a big fan of. We then go to another commercial break, and Seth Rollins So then we see Daniel Bryan get Jey Uso with a running knee to get the win. So he ends up getting that because Seth Rollins ends up leaving and decides not to help out Jey Uso anymore. And that is how Daniel Bryan ends up getting the win after a running knee to Jey Uso. So this really did take up the first 37 minutes of the show. But I liked it though. It was a lot of energy in this match, a lot of fast-paced action, which I was completely a fan of, and it felt fresh. This isn't something that we're used to seeing on SmackDown each and every single day. And it was kind of the start to realizing that they were going to do a lot of different stuff on this show. Post-match, we saw Daniel Bryan grabs the mic, calls out Roman Reigns, and asks if he's going to come out and, basically come out and whip him. He says, like, where are you, Roman Reigns? So Cesaro ends up putting Jey Uso on the swing twice. So they're trying to get Roman Reigns to come out. And at this point, they're basically doing what they can to make Roman Reigns look bad because he's not coming out to defend his family. He's not coming out to help out Jey Uso. And I'm thinking, where is Jimmy Uso? Is this setting up Jimmy Uso? Is Jimmy Uso gonna run in here right now? Because I thought this was it. This felt like the perfect setup to do it. And then we did not see Jimmy Uso. And now I'm wondering, where the hell is Jimmy Uso? I know I mentioned this before, but I gotta mention it again. When I interviewed Jey Uso not that long ago, he told me Jimmy Uso is coming. He's coming soon. And I swear, since then, I have been waiting and waiting. And I really thought this was the moment. It felt like the moment, but he did not come out. So I do not know what is happening there. Lastly, they basically say that he doesn't come out because he's afraid. And that's pretty much this opening segment. So like I said, there was a lot that really happened in that segment there. All right, let's see what else you guys are saying, guys. Go ahead and send in your comments on all of this. We do have a comment on Pat McAfee. This is from Dalen Prada, who thinks that Pat McAfee was great tonight. I don't mind Pat McAfee whatsoever. I really, really do not. I like what he has been bringing to the table so far. I think that he's good. I think he brings a lot of energy, and I like so far what they're doing with him. Now that he's doing commentary on SmackDown, I don't mind it whatsoever. Emmanuel says, we need Denise for head booker. Oh man, can you imagine the type of stories that I'd put out there? You know what though? You wouldn't be seeing the same thing every week, though, if I was the head booker. That's for sure. Dalen also points out that he feels that they're saving Jimmy Uso for a pay-per-view return to help Roman retain. Dude, I thought that a while ago. I thought we would be seeing him by the time we got to WrestleMania, but that's not happening. I don't think we're going to see him for a bit. Based on all the times that I thought we were going to see him and then we didn't, I'm guessing that's not going to happen. All right, so after this, let's go ahead and actually, I'm going to pull up this comment from Brandon who says, I suppose there's still time before Backlash to set up Cesaro versus Roman. I guess we'll have to just let it play out. At this point, do you still want to see Cesaro versus Roman Reigns? Do you? I get it because in-ring wise, we know it's going to be good. But the way that they've been basically telling us that we shouldn't care about Cesaro, I don't think it makes me want to see this. It's not going to make me want to root for Cesaro. He didn't ask for his own match. He barely gets a time to talk. Not to mention the fact that they burnt out his WrestleMania moment right after WrestleMania by playing that clip 15,000 times. They've done Cesaro no favors whatsoever. And I like Cesaro. Heck, Cesaro winning at WrestleMania was one of my favorite WrestleMania moments. But again, they really haven't done anything to kind of continue it on. Martin points out, damn, we're never getting Seth versus Daniel Bryan singles match. I thought that was a direction that we were going to head into tonight, but it doesn't seem like that anymore. Doesn't seem like that's going to happen. We have a comment from Aaron who says, Cesaro is always overlooked. I was expecting Bryan to just say no and say, Cesaro, this is your chance. I had my not going to happen. If Roman Reigns is going to challenge you, Daniel Bryan would have looked terrible if he did not accept. So he definitely had to accept. And it would have made Cesaro look even weaker. He just got this match because Daniel Bryan rejected the match and he was the plan B. So no, it's best that they didn't do that. It's best that they didn't do that. let's see what else we have here. We have a comment from Tony Solomon who says, can we be honest? Who will beat Roman? If you booked it, only way to go is Brock. I think right now there's nobody that I would say, hey, let's give him to beat Roman Reigns. They have to build somebody. They have to build a big baby face, somebody that we can get behind of and really also believe that he can beat Roman Reigns. And I think it's still a while until we actually get somebody like that. So personally, that's where I feel like right now, I wouldn't even be able to give you a name whatsoever. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and move on. So after this, so prior to this next match, we did have it announced backstage that Apollo Crews would be facing Kevin Owens. And I thought to myself, oh man, this is great. SmackDown is feeling really fresh tonight. We had this awesome tag team match. We're going to get Apollo, Kevin Owens later on. And I'm thinking, good. We're getting things rebooted here. This is nice. And then bam, we get Nia Jax versus Tamina. Nia Jax versus Tamina. Okay, here we go. So things to note here are Reginald is back. And I feel bad. I feel like I've been mean to Reginald. I don't want to be mean to Reginald whatsoever, but unfortunately, I'm going to have to pick on Reginald. Reginald is back and he's doing the same things he was doing before, getting involved, putting his nose where it doesn't belong, getting involved in the match. I have no interest in any of this, zero interest. My interest could not be lower, but I pay attention. I watch for you guys. I watch so that I can come on here and know what I'm talking about. But we have Reginald being back. And again, we saw this match between Nia Jax and Tamina, not last week, but the week before that, so 2 weeks ago. And it ended in a note, basically didn't have a finish. And before I get to this, I've been saying, I feel like I've been pretty negative about the whole Nia Jax Tamina thing, but I do have to actually make a very positive note here because there is actually something very positive to say about this. Yes, I found something positive to say. Congratulations. All right. So I just want to say kudos to Tamina. All right, guys. She literally, you can tell, worked on herself. She worked on her physicality. She worked on her attitude, and I'll give her that much. I think that we're seeing this brand new Tamina. And I like that from her. I really, really do. She during WrestleMania, she even got over a bit. People were cheering for her. Good for her. I like that. I thought that was great, but it's just that I really have no interest in Nia Jax versus Tamina with the inclusion of Reginald. So this match ended up with Reginald bumping into Shayna. Then Shayna started stalking Reginald, which ended up distracting Nia Jax, and Tamina ends up rolling her up for the win, and she gets the win. So at least this match was fast. It didn't take up too much of the show. So that was kind of it. But yeah, kudos to Tamina. But other than this, I just could care less about Nia Jax versus Tamina at the moment. Brandon Rosen sends in another super chat. Thank you so much to Brandon, who says, here's a donation for watching Reginald so I don't have to. Thank you. I appreciate it. I really, really do. Thank you so much to Brandon. I feel bad. By the way, whenever I say like anything negative, this is about the character that we're seeing on the screen, never about the actual person in real life, BTW. So I'm sorry. I feel bad for Reginald. Now I feel terrible. But thank you so much to Brandon for sending in the super chat. All right, let's see what you guys are saying here. We have a comment from BM who says, just give the tag titles to Tamina and Natalya and/or Riot Squad. Jax, Baszler keep losing, but they still have the belts. I am just completely over Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler having the belts. I really am. I feel that we've seen all that we can possibly see with them as champions. I'm just about burned out. I would actually prefer, given these two options, obviously I would definitely go with the Riot Squad, but it doesn't seem to me like that's going to happen anytime soon, unfortunately. So I wouldn't mind seeing Tamina and Natalya as champions. I wouldn't mind that whatsoever, I guess. I just want something to change. I want to see something fresh, something new. Of course, I would prefer, the Riot Squad, but I wouldn't mind Tamina and Natalya whatsoever, because I do like Natalya's work a whole lot. I do like Natalya a lot. And let's see, we have a comment from Joseph Boza who says, this partnership with Natalya is the best thing that happened to Tamina. Yeah, it kind of is. Yeah, it really is. I would say good stuff here. And then someone says, Toxic Waste says, all aboard the Tamina train. Sure, why not? 2021. Let's do it. Let's do it. And I'm going to go ahead and read some more here. Redmond Survivor does point out that he says 7 minutes of women across a 2-hour show is not good. I agree with this. And you want to know why? Because it's not even like you can say like, oh, there's no one that can go out there and have a match. What are you talking about? Like, we have Bianca Belair, who's champion. You have Bayley on the roster, and obviously they're going to do Bayley versus Bianca Belair at WrestleMania Backlash. But even the build for that, or therefore the lack of a build, they could have done something more than just those little backstage segments. We got to start putting Bianca Belair in action. You got to give me something more than just a social media tweet basically saying that we're going to see this match at WrestleMania Backlash. You want to do your champion justice by building her up with some challengers that can really help her just elevate her status as champion, and you can definitely do that with Bayley. So, yeah, I do have to point this out as well. Let's see if there's anything else here that I want to point out before we go ahead and move on. All right, cool. So BTW, guys, friendly reminder, send in a super chat if you guys like. I do get to read your comments on there, and they do help me out and all of that. But before we move on, friendly reminder, guys, I am on here 3 days a week now, guys. 3 days a week. I am here Tuesdays for NXT coverage, which that has developed into a really fun show. We have Wednesday night AEW Dynamite, which is my favorite show of the week to cover because it is so much fun to talk about. Everybody has a good time chatting about it on here. And then we close out the week. This is my chillax day. This is the day where I relax. This is my most relaxed stream. All the other days I'm stressed. On Fridays, we relax with some Friday night Smackdown. And it's just really fun to come on here and chat with you guys, chat about wrestling and all of that. Just a really, really good time here. Alrighty, guys, let's go ahead and move on. So after this, we had Apollo Crews versus Kevin Owens. And before we get started on this actual match, I just got to say, hallelujah. Thank goodness we got something new on this show. This felt completely fresh, fun, exciting. I enjoyed this match for what it was. So I'll start things off there. We'll go ahead and recap this match a little bit. Kevin Owens essentially kicks off this match by getting Apollo in a headlock. That lasts for a little bit. Kevin Owens chops and punches Apollo Crews. He hits a swanton. BTW, my auto notes accidentally switched swanton to wonton. And for a second, I was like, what the hell is a wonton? But Kevin Owens hits a swanton on Apollo. Sammy comes out and ends up joining commentary. We go to a commercial break. We come back. We see some awesome Apollo Crews hits Kevin Owens with some awesome German suplexes. I really liked all of that. And again, this is not a match that we've seen 1 million times. So no matter what they were going to do here, I really enjoyed, and this was such a good matchup for Apollo Crews. Giving him somebody like Kevin Owens felt like a big deal, and again, elevates him as champion a little bit. Kevin Owens hits Apollo with a cannonball, gets him with a pop-up power bomb. That was good too. Does a frog splash from the top of the rope, from top of the apron to the outside. That was a good spot as well. But essentially, we have Aziz distracting Kevin Owens and Apollo getting the win here. Immediately afterwards, Kevin Owens is like, and stuns Apollo Crews. After that, Aziz knocks Kevin Owens out with the Nigerian nail. There you go. Later on in the show, we do see Big E attack Apollo. Again, I liked all of this because it felt new. All right, let's see what else we have here. What did you guys think about it? This is a comment from ASM Shafim who says, I couldn't get into this match as much as I wanted to because I knew the finish would take the joy out of it. Sammy made it worthwhile, though. Look, nobody here was expecting Kevin Owens to win just because they got to give Apollo, they got to give Apollo something here. But I appreciated this match for what it was because they went out there, they had a very, very fun match and a lot of good moments throughout. And that's all I asked for. All I ask for is just for it to be enjoyable, for it not to be the same thing, and for it to feel new. So I actually really enjoyed it for what it was. And let's see, did you guys have any other thoughts here? All right, we got a super chat from Jake Larson who says, how about a Sammy dance to kick off the weekend? All right, ladies and gentlemen, I knew this was coming because Jake Larson tweeted me on Twitter. So I thought to myself, all right, Jake Larson, you paid your hard-earned money, and I appreciate that. So I will be doing the Sami Zayn dance. Now, I really hope that this is not the time where Brian or Dave or Tony or anybody from F4W tunes into my stream to see me dancing like a nutcase. But here we go. Just a quick one. Bam! All right, if you're listening to the audio version of this, I just danced a very poor version of Sami Zayn's dance, and I had to do it really quickly, because, I'm on the air and you don't want too much dead air. So thank you so much to Jake Larson. I hope you appreciated that really sad version of my Sami Zayn dancing. Matthew also points out that the Sami dance is the best part of the show. I love Sami Zayn dancing all the time. I really, really do. So I have nothing negative to say whatsoever about that. And let's see what else we have here. Everybody's coming in like LOL. Oh God. Can you imagine like if this would have been like the show that Dave tuned in on and was like, we hired this girl. She's out here dancing on this street. Oh my gosh. All right, we have a super chat. Thank you so much to Matthew for saying $5 for Denise dancing. Straight up amazing. Appreciate the amazing job. If I didn't have to sit on this chair, I would have put a little bit more leg work into that. Move the hips a little bit more, all of that. But unfortunately, you can only move so much when you're essentially wired to your computer here and with a giant microphone, which sadly I'm always accidentally knocking over. But thank you so much to Matthew Makovsky for sending this super chat in here. Guys, I'll do anything for the money, apparently. You send in the money, I'll dance like a show monkey. Oh, that's terrible. All right, I need to move on from this before I get myself in trouble. All right. Okay, this is supposed to be a serious analysis. And Brandon says, he sends in a super chat. Thank you to Brandon who says, I was saving my super chat for later, but that dance, go ahead and take my money. Brandon, thank you so much. You're keeping me fed, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Here we go. You get a little extra dance. Woo! All right. Oh, that's terrible. The show has gone off the wires, guys. It's gone off the wires. All right. Tony Solomon asked anything ? No. Keep it PG, guys. Keep it PG, please. Keep it PG. All right, guys, let's move on. So after this, here we go. So this is going to be a transition because we have lots to talk about here. A big time transition because lo and behold, ladies and gentlemen, lo and behold, we had the return of Aleister Black, ladies and gentlemen. Aleister Black is back. And I don't know what to think about this. I don't know what to make of this whatsoever. When I see things, I try to think like, all right, what cool opinion am I going to come up with to come on the show and talk about? I want to give a unique perspective about what we saw on the show, blah, 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 right? I don't got nothing for this one. Nothing. I'm actually going to need you, the people, to tell me what you thought of Aleister Black because this was a little bit confusing to me. I didn't really get it. I didn't get it, guys. He comes out, he cuts this promo. He's got his hair slicked back. He's got these like Harry Potter glasses, and he's looking like a very smart dude. He's got a book that's called The Tales of the Dark Father. And he starts telling the story. They're showing this cartoon version of it. And from what he talks about, the father being bad. He talks about becoming a dragon because of his father. He talks about parents making their kids worse, making them into bigger monsters. And I'm thinking, all right, so Aleister Black has daddy issues. I don't know what we're doing here. I don't know. Look, I'll take it for what it is, because even though I didn't know what was happening, I was interested. I was ready for it. And hopefully it does not fail like it did on Raw when he was doing all of those knock on my door promos where I don't even know what was happening. I've blurred that out at this point. But what did you guys all think about this? So, okay, Amanda Rodriguez says, I know what to think of it. Yas. All right, cool. I think we're just really happy that we're even seeing Aleister Black back, you know? ASM Shafeen says that he was giving off massive preacher vibes, hella hyped for this, to be honest. So somebody else mentioned that to me on Twitter. However, I have not seen that show, nor do I know anything about it. So I really can't comment on that, but I did see a couple of people talking about that, which I like. I like when characters are based off of other characters or, you know, people in general, because I do feel like that does help. It helps it a lot better personally. Matthew says, I yelled, dropped a few F-bombs, but what the hell was he saying? I don't know. See, I'm not really interested in like all the poetic type of promos because I get easily lost with these poetic stuff. All right, guys, here we go. We have another super chat. Thank you so much to Brandon Rosen. Brandon, you are awesome. You are officially the I'm trying to give you a fancy title here. You're the Friday guest of honor for today. Congratulations. Friday guest of honor for sending in all of these massive super chats. Brandon says, I don't know what WWE is doing with Aleister Black, but it could either be really good or really awful. Still, it's good to see him back on TV. Hopefully, creative gets him right this time. How do you not get Aleister Black right? I mean, look at the guy. Like, you look at him and you're like, that's a wrestler. That's somebody that I want to have on my roster. That is somebody that I'm going to be like star over here. If I'm a booker, if I'm an owner, a promoter, whatever, I'm going to look at Aleister Black and I'm going to say, yeah, that's my guy right there. I'm going to push this guy to the moon and we're going to do a whole lot with him. And then you see him in the ring and the guy is killer, man. He is killer. So I do not know how the ball has been dropped with Aleister Black. But in terms of, I do have to agree with your statement here. It could either be really good or really awful. Now, I do have a little bit more hope because I feel like they do protect people just a little bit more on SmackDown than over on Raw. So I do have hopes for Aleister Black here. BTW, so I went back to check when is the last time that we saw Aleister Black. And it was actually early October of 2020, guys. Before Christmas, before Thanksgiving, before Halloween of last year. That is the last time we saw Aleister Black. And now fast forward to late April, and we're barely seeing him. That's like, what, 6-7 months? I don't know. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy how long we went without Aleister Black here. But thank you so much to Brandon for sending in this super chat. Stephen Kramer says, at least his promo made more sense than Jericho's on Wednesday. Oh, I talk about that promo on my Wednesday night show on AEW Dynamite. You guys can always watch the replay to that show. That's a very fun show, BTW. Okay, let's move on, guys. Again, if you are watching the replay of this, feel free to leave a comment. Let me know what you guys thought of Aleister Black. Maybe you can explain the character a lot better to me than I explained it to you. All right, so after this, so one of the things that was talked about before Friday Night SmackDown started tonight was the fact that they announced that we are actually going to be seeing Bianca Belair versus Bayley at WrestleMania Backlash. Now, I tweeted, I like this, I'm all for this, but the reason I tweeted that was because I really am looking forward to that match, okay? Hands down, I'm looking forward to it. But here's the but. The but is that this was not the best way or the most impactful way to build to this match. All we've had since Bianca Belair won the title is she comes back, she has this celebration, which was great, really nice. And then Bayley's doing a backstage interview where she just basically says that she wants to challenge Bianca. And that's it. Bam, all of a sudden it's announced we're getting this match. All right, cool, but what else? What else? We got this backstage segment where Bianca Belair is doing this interview, but Bayley essentially comes out and she starts saying, oh, I respect you, Bianca. I respect you, this and that. And, Bianca's like, what the heck? Like, why is she being so nice to me? But then all of a sudden, turns out Bayley is just playing a joke on her. She was trying to fool her. She wasn't respecting her whatsoever and laughs in her face. All right, cool. What else? If to me, and I said this last week and I have to say it again, because last week I said that after the celebration, after, Bianca and the Street Profits, they all hug it out, Bayley should have came out and challenged her. Like, even just challenging her face to face would have been more impactful than just mentioning it in an interview and then for us to find out on Twitter. So that's how I feel about that. Aaron has a comment. He says, I'm all for Bianca and Bayley match, but again, where's the build? Exactly. Where is the build? We don't have one. We don't have one. But you know what? If we didn't have one we didn't have a build for her match with Sasha Banks at WrestleMania main event history making match, then I guess we're not going to have one for WrestleMania Backlash. Okay. Wow. My heart rate went up with this. All right, here we go. We have a comment from Brandon who says, actually, I lost Brandon's comment. Oh, there it is. He says, Bayley and Bianca both need to be on the show, getting wins, maybe shoot an angle, and bam, the match is built. And that was the thing that I said that they should have done with Sasha and Bianca. Just give them some matches, give them some wins, keep it going, get it hot, all of that. Pomi says, it would have been much more effective to have Bayley beat someone like Ruby Riott or Liv Morgan and then cut a promo. Exactly. Give her a match, something. Let her be in action. Ruby Riott and Liv Morgan, unfortunately, them at least losing in a singles match to Bianca Belair is better than what they've been doing the past several months, really. Joseph Snurk has a comment on the Aleister Black situation and says, I saw someone on Twitter say that Aleister's character was stolen from Far Cry 5. I think stolen is the wrong word, but I see the similarities between Aleister and Joseph Seed. Now, here's where I'm going to fail everybody watching the stream. I do not know what Far Cry 5 is, but for those of you who are fans of that, there you go. The comparison was made. I unfortunately do not know what that is, so I cannot further comment on that. But thank you so much to Joseph for sending in this comment here. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and jump into this next match, which was Otis and Gable versus Dominic and Rey Mysterio. Look, for the fact that I was not interested in this match because it's something that we've seen before, it's nothing new, given that I had no interest heading into this match, I actually thought this match was really fun. I enjoyed it. I really, really enjoy seeing Chad Gable and Rey Mysterio go at it. So with that being said, we really, really, really need to give Chad Gable, we need to do Chad Gable versus Rey Mysterio on a one-on-one match at WrestleMania Backlash and just let them go, man. Let them go. Like, that would be such a treat to watch. I would love to see that. Whether it's not going to happen, but I would love to see it. And Rey and Dominic ended up getting the win. Again, this was for considering that it wasn't a match that I was really all that, interested in. It actually ended up being pretty fun. So I did enjoy all of that. All right. And let's go. Oh, thank you. By the way, Aaron points out that Far Cry 5 is a video game. Thank you. I actually thought it was like a movie or an anime. Again, I do not even know about anime, which BTW, for those of you who haven't heard, WWE is doing an anime. They sold off a show to Crunchyroll, which I've heard of Crunchyroll, so I know that it's a pretty big deal based on what I've heard. But I am interested in the fact that we're going to be getting WWE anime. That should be interesting. Alrighty, guys, let's jump into the main event. Well, actually, not really a main event, but Cesaro and Daniel Bryan essentially just coming out and calling out Roman Reigns. Not an actual match, just a segment, but I'm so used to saying the main event. Anyways, the last segment of the show. And Cesaro and Daniel Bryan come out and basically threaten Roman Reigns to come out. They say if he doesn't come out, they're going to go out there and they're going to, look for him. Roman Reigns comes out and he gets in Cesaro's face and basically tells them, he asked them first who the hell he thinks he is. Then he tells them, you don't deserve this. You don't deserve to be in a match with me. You don't deserve a championship match. And tells them, you'll never be at my level. And he says, I am the one who issues the challenges here. And instead of basically tells Cesaro, nobody, sorry, ain't gonna happen, bro. He then goes to Daniel Bryan and instead offers the shot to Daniel Bryan. And like I said at the top of the show, and like I said on Twitter, you never, ever, ever send your friend to ask your crush out for you, because they will fall in love with your friend. All right. And that is exactly what happened here. Okay. So then we find out that we are going to be getting a big main event next week with a big stipulation on hand here. One-on-one match. Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan doesn't win. He is banished from SmackDown. Again, we do not know what is going to happen. I think this may be it for Daniel Bryan, definitely on SmackDown. Whether or not we'll be seeing him on another brand or just behind the scenes, we don't know. We're gonna find out. But I'm excited for this, and given the fact that we have such huge stakes on the line next week, you guys better tune in next week for the show, because we're going to have a lot to talk about, and I can tell you that already. So I'm going to go ahead and read some final comments here, and then we're going to go ahead and tune out. But let's see what you guys are saying here. Let's see. We have a comment from Amanda, who says that she's loved anime since she was little and she cried when she heard the news. That is incredible. I feel like if you're an anime fan, then you know what to expect out of the WWE anime. So that should be pretty fun. So that's exciting. And let's see what else we have here. Joseph says Roman is scared of Cesaro. Cesaro could be the biggest threat to the kingdom. Roman is desperate. 8 months as the man. Dude, I've lost interest right now in Cesaro. Based on what they've been doing with him, I have no interest. I'm out. I'm out as of the moment. That's not saying I could come back. I could come back, but I'm just saying as of this moment, I'm not interested. Okay. And let's see what else we have here. We have a comment from, we have a super chat. Thank you so much to Matthew Makovsky, who says, super chat for my dog who is looking super cute right now. Super chat from your dog. Your dog is looking I don't even know what to say about this. Thank you so much for the super chat. I'll take it. I'll take it. Alrighty, guys. We have a comment from Pomi who says, if not Cesaro, who else is available to challenge Roman for the title at Backlash? It should have been Cesaro. I thought they were going to do Cesaro. That's exactly what I thought. But unfortunately, they made him look like a side dish right now. They made him look like a plan B. All right, that's how I feel about this. That is literally how I feel. All right, guys. That is literally our show, our stream for today. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. Can't talk anymore. Tuning in to my Friday night SmackDown show. I always have a lot of fun with you guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you to everybody who tuned in, who participated in the chats and super chats, whatever it was. I really appreciate all of your support. I would not be able to do this without you guys. All right, you guys are the reason why I got 2 extra shows on this channel. Without you guys, I would not be having 2 extra shows. So yes, please make sure to come in, check out my show, following NXT on Tuesdays, following AEW Dynamite on Wednesdays, and then again Friday Night SmackDown. Also, last thing, everybody. So for those of you guys who haven't heard, I am running the new Instagram page and I'm following everybody back. If you go to F4W, the same exact handle as a Twitter handle, but on Instagram. If you go there and follow, I will give you a follow back there. I am helping run the channel, so I am going to be posting, a lot of the breaking news on there, so that you guys know when stuff is up on the website. You guys can go read the articles. I will be promoting people's podcasts on there, so you guys will know what other podcasts are available to listen to and all of that. So a fun place. You will be seeing a lot of interaction on there as well. So make sure to go ahead and give that a follow too. And also, last but not least, do not forget to give me a follow on Twitter and or on Instagram @_ Denise Salcedo. I am about 20 something days away from my birthday, and I'm trying to get to 20K on Twitter. I'm 1,400 followers away from hitting my goal. So I am in desperate need of more followers. All right, guys, Twitter and Instagram @_ Denise Salcedo. Do not forget to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, I will see you guys later. Have an awesome weekend, everybody. Bye.